Hello and welcome to West Country Wanderings, welcome one in my Cotswold Walk series. Today I'm going to be doing a shorter walk. It's Boxing Day morning here, but I need to burn off some of the food that I ate yesterday on Christmas Day. Hope you've all had a great Christmas day. I'm going to be heading shortly to the village of Broad Campden in Gloucestershire and doing a walk to the town of Chipping Campden and complete a circular walk from there. I'll tell you more about that as we make our way there. First of all, I've decided to stop off at the beautiful Worcestershire village of Bretforton. So I've come up the Evesham bypass, the A46 road, and turned off heading towards Chipping Campden. Stopped off here at Bretforton, which is famous for its fleece inn, which is looked after by the National Trust, the care of the National Trust. Behind me here are llamas, and they're named after characters from films like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. One of them is called Frodo, but I don't know which one's which. There's about 10 there, and it tells you lots of information on the sign there about all the different llamas here in the field in the centre of the village. It's got a beautiful church. It's got a shop that's open here on Boxing Day morning, so people coming in there just behind me to get their papers here, and it's just a wonderful atmosphere in this beautiful and lesser known Cotswold village. Of course, Chipping Campden is well known. I'm not sure how busy that's going to be today, but we're going to start off at Broad Campden, so I'm going to head over there now, just insert a few scenes of Bretforton here in Worcestershire. So I'll see you all in a bit. Well, I've now come around to the beautiful village of Broad Campden, which we'll look at in more detail on the return trip, because remember this is a circular walk. So I've driven here, it's about a 10-minute drive from where we were at Bretforton in Worcestershire. We went up a steep ridge. And yes, I have driven today. I do like to use public transport because being a bank holiday here on Boxing Day, there's virtually no trains. But you can get to it, and I'll talk about that later on in the walk. We're going to be following the Diamond Way. So we're going to be going down this way, down here, next to this beautiful cottage down here, down this lane towards the town of Chipping Campden, which is of course where I finished the Cotswold Way a couple of years ago now. And we'll be returning via, yes, the Monarch's Way, yay! So we'll be going back on the Monarch's Way, back to Broad Campden. I'll show you some more of the village again then, but it's beautiful and peaceful. I actually heard a woodpecker. There was obviously the usual crows, a couple of pheasants. Very, very quiet here on a Boxing Day morning. Anyway, hope you can join the walk with me here on West Country Wanderings towards the Cotswold town of Chipping Campden. As we're walking along here on the Diamond Way, leaving the village, I have this lovely little orchard here. I guess that's private there, but the right of way goes alongside it. Also, since I climbed up onto the Cotswold Ridge, the Cotswold Escarpment here to Broad Campden, after being down in the Evesham Vale there at Bretforton, the mist is starting to lift and the sun's starting to come through. I don't think there was any forecast of sun today, so I was surprised to see the sun burning through. So I was expecting some mist. I was hoping it was going to burn off, because I hope to actually finish the video. I don't know if it'll come out or not, but I hope to finish it at a place called Dover's Hill, which I did cover on my Cotswold Way, but it's always got a nice view there. So if the mist lifts, I'll see if I can go over there later. No promises, but I'm just enjoying the sights and sounds here in the Cotswolds on Boxing Day morning. It's just lovely. So today's Cotswold walk is actually one of the shortest ones I've done. It's only about, well, it's less than 6 kilometres, so a little bit over 3, maybe just under 4 miles. So quite a short one. And it's one to savour. It's nice to get out on a Boxing Day, isn't it, after eating food on Christmas Day and being in and watching TV and videos and playing games and all that kind of thing, which is great. But as you know, I love being out in the open air, fresh air. It's about 7 degrees today. It's dry, and as I say, the sun's trying to push through the morning mist. The ground is quite damp, and well, obviously we've had a very wet month, but it is forecast to be dry over the next few days, so it'd be good to be making out and about again, making some more videos, because December's been quite tricky for making content because of the weather. But no complaints from me today about the weather. It's nice and calm, there's no wind as well, so it's great. I think that was that woodpecker again. It's just coming up from over here. It's the edge of the village. The road from Chipping Campden comes up that way, so we're down in the valley now, but it's Broad Campden on the top there, which we'll have a look at later. Oh yes, different jumper and a new t-shirt. Yes, red jumper, red t-shirt, which were Christmas presents. It's not a Christmas jumper, but yeah, I know red looks a bit Christmassy, doesn't it? But yeah, it's a really nice present, that. So really enjoyed that. Yes, thank you Mum and Dad. A gift from Mum and Dad for Christmas, but really enjoying that, and it's just been nice out here in the Cotswolds. In terms of public transport, as I say, it's difficult getting here on Boxing Day via public transport, but normally you can get here via public transport. If you go to the railway station at Moreton-in-Marsh, you can then catch a bus heading towards Chipping Campden, which will take you through Broad Campden. In fact, it'll stop at Broad Campden before it gets to Chipping Campden. I can't remember how often they ran. I remember catching the bus. This is how I knew about Broad Campden. It's the first time I've ever walked around here or done this walk before. First time I've been to Bretforton in Worcestershire as well. It was because I finished the Cotswold Way. The route I did, I caught the train to Evesham, bus to Broadway, walked from Broadway to Chipping Campden, which was the last leg. I caught the bus back from Chipping Campden to Moreton-in-Marsh, which passed through Broad Campden, which I wasn't even aware of before. And it's always been in my mind to feature it in a future video, but which I'm a pleasure to do today, and we'll show some more of it later on when we head back to complete our walk. But this is just a wonderful savouring of the Cotswolds here. Thank you if you watched my Christmas in the Cotswolds video as well. That was featuring a couple of other places in the Gloucestershire in the Cotswolds, and that was Bretforton on the Water and Stow on the Wold, which are about 10 or 11 miles south of where I currently am. Gloucestershire actually extends quite a bit further north from where I am. The road here you can actually carry on towards the Warwickshire town of Shipston on Stour, which is slightly outside of the Cotswold area, only just, which I did feature in a previous video looking around Shipston on Stour. It's a very interesting town. And Mickleton is the most northerly village in Gloucestershire, which is a couple of miles north of where we currently are, and then you go into Warwickshire. But Worcestershire is actually further to the south and to the west where we are, so kind of Gloucestershire goes northerly lump penetrating into Warwickshire, if you can picture that. But yeah, we're going to continue along here heading towards the town of Chipping Campden. So we're currently following the stream which you saw back there as it went on a little bridge underneath the footpath here on the Diamond Way, and we'll be shortly heading up a gradient, so we're following the valley bottom here. I'm not sure if the stream has got a name or not. If it does, I'll put it in now, just double check. So I'm looking away from the camera a bit because it is a little bit slippery underfoot and I don't want to slip up, but yeah, apart from that, it is really, really nice. So yeah, the stream there, and then we'll be continuing around the valley here and then making our way up there, a bit of a gradient towards Chipping Campden itself. So this is where the paths diverge. A footpath carries on around that way. Not sure where that goes to, but it continues on around. and then we're going to make this track up here towards Chipping Campden. And amazing, we're getting some blue sky and the sun is starting to come out. This wasn't forecast at all. Absolutely delightful. If you follow my railway series and interested in railway things, you might be interested in the following story, is that I had a book called Cotswold Memories, which is a slightly unusual book. It's a railway book and it's not a railway book. I had it for Christmas and I started having a look at it last night. Now the Cotswold railway line runs of course from Worcester down to Oxford, passing hereabouts near the town here of Chipping Campden, and just slightly, I think slightly to the north of the town, there is a tunnel, a railway tunnel on the old Worse and Worse, the old Oxford, Worcester and Wolverhampton railway line. Quite a considerable tunnel. I can't put in now exactly how long it was. But when that tunnel was being built and the line was being constructed, there were arguments between different contractors building the tunnel. I'll put in a photograph that's in that book now of men working outside the tunnel later on towards the end of the 19th century when they were doing renovations and expecting it. But prior to that, during the construction of Camden Tunnel, yes, lots of battles, and I think a couple of people may have lost their lives. It got very, very violent indeed. It's just hard to imagine in a very bucolic, very rural, very peaceful and quiet area something like that happening. There's a fair bit of rubble from Cotswold stone in the corner of this building. Just wondering if there used to be a building here like an outhouse for the farmyard. But if we go through the stile here, Gloucestershire County Council public footpath, on the other side of it we've got some horses. Hello then. Hello. Well, we'll leave the horses and Shetland pony there in peace and quiet. Bye! And making our way down this way. Now our entrance to Chipping Campden shows on the map something called Garden Earthworks, and we actually come out a place called Berrington Mill. I've not actually seen that before. Then we passed by Chipping Campden Church. I'll show you that. But yeah, don't recall Berrington Mill. Maybe I do, and I didn't remember the name of it. But I'm not sure what the Garden Earthworks is. I don't have a mobile phone signal at the moment, so hopefully when we get to Chipping Campden there might be some signal there and I'll be able to have a look and see what the Garden Earthworks is all about. It sounds really interesting. I don't know if it was Roman or not. Obviously there's a lot of Roman sites in and around the Cotswolds, which I've featured on my travels before. On the Cotswold Way, of course, we featured Whitcomb Roman Villa, and I hope to do Chedworth Roman Villa, which is National Trust one, open to the public, on a future video. But yeah, we'll have a look at that. I'm still enjoying this countryside here. It's just, I've had it to myself. I saw a couple of people walking their dogs in Bretforton. Said good morning to them. There was a chap buying the paper there from the village shop in Bretforton. I just saw one dog walker as I was leaving Broad Campden, and that's been it. I've not seen anyone else doing this walk at all. I guess a lot of people are hesitant about walking out in the deeper countryside because of the bad weather we had, knowing it's going to be very, very slippery and muddy, which it's not too bad here because obviously we're on higher ground, so it kind of drains away somewhat here. It's not too bad at all. But obviously in the lower valley where we first started it can be a little bit slippery. Anyway, let's continue along here, down in towards the town of Chipping Campden. Yes, I'm starting to recognise some buildings now as we're heading into the edges of Chipping Campden. We need to continue along here so that there are some buildings which I do recognise. I think that must be Berrington Mill. You can actually see some ancient walls, but we're coming closer to that because where it says Garden Earthworks, I think is an open access land. We're going to continue down there through that little copse, and then we kind of do a diagonal into the town. So as we're getting closer to town, there's more people around now out walking on their Boxing Day walks, which is always good to see. We're going to head through here. I think there's a fallen tree down there before making our way right. So we're going to go right here over the stream, And there looks like there's a ruined arch there, which I've not seen here in Chipping Camden before. I'm not sure if we can get access to the arch itself, but we'll certainly have a closer look. Well, this arch is amazing. I've never noticed this before. In fact, if you look through the arch, you can see another arch on the other side. You can't go through there because it's private. If I line it up here, hoping not to fall into the stream, just coming into shot now, hereabouts. There it is there. So yeah, there's another arch just there, through the arch, an arch through the arch. I like that. I don't know the history of this arch, so I still can't get a signal, so I will do some post-edit subtitling, scrolling along the screen now to give you some more information if I can find it. You can see that through there, but the church is lit up by the sunlight with the mist lying behind it. Yes, that's the main church here, parish church of Chipping Camden, here in the Cotswolds. So this area here is brown edged on the OS map, which means it's open access land, which is, I guess, why it's so popular with the dog owners of Chipping Camden and hereabouts, so they can let their dogs run free all over this area here, right down to the stream and up to there. But the bit that's just south of the magnificent church here in Chipping Camden is private, but we will be going round it. This is why we're doing like a zigzag, as you'll see from the map I'm inserting now, to make our way into the centre of the town. And from this angle you can actually see the earthworks all dotted there. There's like terraces here around just to the left of that, trees, terraces. So that's the garden earthworks site with more ruins just to the left of the church tower. What a magnificent sight that looks. The original building there, and the church tower, and all of the Cotswold walks, and the ruined arches, and the side of the original building. I need to find out some more about that. Well, here we've arrived at Chipping Camden, and we're outside the church of St James. I'm going to grab a seat here, I think, and grab a cup of tea before we make our way into the town centre. So I'm now in the beautiful Chipping Camden churchyard, Church of St James here. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Now this behind me here is a banqueting house. It's one of two. It's all that remains of the former Camden House, which was a huge house. Sadly, obviously there was no photographs of it, but there's no paintings of it or diagrams or drawings of what it looked like. It was actually destroyed in the English Civil War, similar to what we came across the other day when I was in the village of Tainton in the western half of Gloucestershire. So yes, destroyed in that there by the Royalist forces, because they were suspecting that the parliamentarians were going to seize control of it, but they razed it to the ground. Both banqueting halls though are now in the control of the Landmark Trust, and they are actually restoring them. But what is the earthworks and garden embankments and all that, I still don't know. So I'll have to do that as a more digging when I can look at the internet on my laptop when I get home. And if I've got some more information, I'll put that in now. But I've not been able to find that on my phone just by doing a cursory Google search. But hopefully I'll be able to find something. I'm really enjoying this walk. It's a nice relaxing walk. As I say, it's about 6 kilometres, so it's 3 kilometres here. Actually slightly over 3 kilometres here, and it's slightly less on the way back as we pick up the route of the Monarch's Way. So we're going to head into Chipping Camden now. There's a fair few people around, as you expect on a Boxing Day, but not as busy as what I came across last year when I did the circular walk arriving into Bretforton on the Water. Not as bad as that, but obviously there's still some people around, so I'll be swapping the cameras over, but I'll be able to show you some views of the beautiful town here, Chipping Camden in the Cotswolds. Hope you're enjoying the walk, and I'll see you all in a bit. Sadly, the church is closed today. Obviously, they've had a busy time over the past couple of days with Christmas, but having a rest today. So I can't show you the inside of the church, but I can show you the town centre. So I love this original water pump here, just in the town centre, with that seat round the tree as well. I think it's a willow tree. It's always hard to tell when trees aren't in leaf at this time of year. So there's a sign there giving us direction. So it's 3 miles to Mickleton, the most northerly village. We're only 9 miles from the town of Evesham, that's the nearest big town to here, and 5 miles away from the Worcestershire Cotswold village of Broadway. Lovely wide high street, isn't it? So it was a slight shock to the system after been walking in the countryside, peace and quiet, to suddenly come back into an urban area. I know it's only a small urban area, but it's still people, traffic, that kind of thing. I know I prefer the countryside, but you can't deny the beauty of this Cotswold town. So here's the famous bit where the Cotswold Way starts or ends, 100 miles from the city of Bath in former Somerset now. Baines, of course, Bath and North East Somerset, yeah, 100 miles away, which actually it was 2021 I completed the walk here. It's good being back in the town here again. So there's a sign for the Cotswold Way and the Monarch's Way, which leads off in a different direction. There's another pointer there to the Monarch's Way, which is the bit we need to be on. Yes, it's the bit that's pointing to the left, which will take us back to Broad Campden. Now the Cotswold Way continues along this way, but the road towards Shipston-on-Stour, Moulton and Moulton back to Broad Campden takes a left, which is where we're heading to now. Well, I managed to get myself a cup of coffee here at an old silk mill, which also is where an arts and craft architect once worked as well, and you can see the influence on the inside of the building. But yeah, beautiful. I think there's an art gallery in there, but that's not open today, so I've just come around the outside. So we're now on the Monarch's Way and also the Heart of England Way as we leave the town of Chipping Campden. Just going past the recreation ground. Lots of children there, so I don't want to film that. Well, unfortunately, the mist that we had at the start of the walk when I was in Bretforton in Worcestershire has returned as I'm making my way, climbing back up to the village of Broad Campden. This is the Monarch's Way here, some housing here. There's a road there, so this footpath runs parallel to the road at this point, although shortly it will diverge away from the road and then strike up. It's not a very busy road though, so it's not too much traffic noise. There's lots of families out here. Obviously I think they've been heading down towards the recreation ground to kick a football around and blow away the cobwebs from Christmas Day and burn off a bit of turkey and roast bud and Christmas bud at the same time. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying this Boxing Day walk here in the Cotswolds on West Country Wanderings. So at this remote post here in the middle of a large field, the footpath splits. We're going to take the one on the right. In fact, if I'd taken the one on the left at that point, it would have brought us back onto the Diamond Way, which is how we got into Chipping Campden at the start of the video. Now, with the return of the misty conditions, it's also meant a drop in temperature. We're only about a kilometre and a half away back to Broad Campden now. We're going to have a look around there before I close the video off on the top of Dover's Hill, and I'll tell you a little bit more about Dover's Hill because it's quite an interesting tale. Normally it's a stunning view from there. I have actually seen the city of Birmingham from there with all the tall tower blocks of flats, and you can even see the city centre on a clear day, but I don't think we're going to be able to see Birmingham from Dover's Hill today, but it is still a lovely spot. Now looking down at the valley that we came up, right down there. That was that stream. Remember, I just filmed the stream there with that little bridge. But it's now completely hidden from view. Think that when I was walking along there earlier this morning, we had some blue sky appearing, and now it's quite thick. So we're now entering back into Broad Campden from a different direction. Some beautiful trees ahead of me here. I think they're lime trees or perhaps London planes, not sure, but yeah, this is just lovely. It's private on both sides though, so you have to stick to the right of way, which has got a rope on one side and a fence on the other, so there's no danger of straying off in the wrong direction, but it is just beautiful and peaceful. I've actually been looking up a little bit about Broad Campden. I'm sorry I didn't have much time to do loads of research for this one, because obviously I'll be producing the Christmas ones, and then Christmas happened, so there hasn't been a lot of time to do much research. But I do know that the series Father Brown has been filmed here, if you watch that. I'm not sure where that's mainly based, but they have used a Quaker house here in the village. So we'll see if we can find that before we close the video today. Just, yeah, it's so quiet compared to the hustle and bustle back down there in the town of Chipping Campden. It's absolutely beautiful here, and we've got a bank of snowdrops there just underneath that tree by the seat. Oh, a beautiful spot. Here's a little chapel here in Broad Campden, which is served, as I say, it's linked to the main one down the hill in Chipping Campden, but it's a beautiful building. Typical Cotswold stone with that slightly redder, yellowy hue that's common around this part of the Cotswolds because of the higher iron content. So the church here is St Michael and All Angels, Broad Campden. I don't know the year it was built. If I can find that out, then I'll put that in now. Some fantastic topiary on that large house there. The hedge goes round it. Wonderful. So in the mist there is the Norman house here, which was restored for the art historian Ananda, that's Ananda, not Amanda, so it's a man's name, Coombe Manaswane, and I think his wife Ethel, who's also involved in the arts movement. The whole area is also a centre of the arts and crafts movement. In fact, there was a publishing house here at the turn of the 20th century called Essex House Publishing, and they were based here in Broad Campden. Now, Broad Campden is a centre of several footpaths, of course, the Monarch's Way, the Diamond Way, also the Heart of England Way, and there's lots of other minor footpaths as well. So it's a great place for a hub for walking in the Cotswolds, so it makes a good place. And if you're like me, you enjoy quieter places, it is a lot quieter than the town of Chipping Campden. Even has a pub there. It's very busy, so it's difficult for me to get a shot of it though, but it's just behind me. Through the mist, if it wasn't misty, you'd be able to see it. There is also that Quaker house which was used in Father Brown. I have passed it, but unfortunately there's two gentlemen actually working on it at the moment, not filming, but they're doing some renovations to it, and I didn't want to interrupt them for filming. But yeah, so if I can find a stock photo of that here in Broad Campden, I'll include that now. Even better, see if I can find it as it was used in Father Brown. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave Broad Campden, return to my car, and then head over to Dover's Hill to close today's walk, shorter walk here in the Cotswolds off. See you in a bit. Well, unfortunately, I've had a little bit of a change of plan because I went to Dover's Hill, driving back through Chipping Campden on the way, making my way to Evesham direction. Got to the top of Dover's Hill and it's completely covered in thick fog, not just the mist that we had earlier, but complete thick fog, and you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. I thought, well, I can't do a piece of camera there. You wouldn't see anything, let alone the beautiful views that you normally see from Dover's Hill on a beautiful day. I wanted to tell you more about the Olympics that happened there. Yes, the Cotswold Olympics, that's the site of the Cotswold Olympics. I did briefly touch on that when I did my Cotswold Way video 3 years ago, passing through there, but unfortunately I couldn't do that today to show the views, but alas, there we go. That's as it turns out sometimes. I returned here back to Bretforton in Worcestershire before I head back onto the Evesham bypass and then M5 back to where I live in Gloucestershire, another part of Gloucestershire. Obviously we were in Gloucestershire today on the walk. I will, as usual, drop the map for the walk that we've done today from Broad Campden to Chipping Campden and back to Broad Campden again, in case you want to do it yourself. It's a nice short one. Maybe you want to do it next Boxing Day. It's a nice walk to do on a Boxing Day. It's not too demanding. It's not too hilly either. It's a little bit of undulations, but it's not, certainly not an exacting walk by any means. Nice gentle walk to get you back into the swing of walking again as we get into springtime. And I certainly want to do that here on West Country Wandering, because I certainly want to return to the Geopark Way again, get back onto the southwest coast path as well, and also other parts, the England coast path around Somerset as well. I'm hoping to do something on that, as well as my other usual videos in my canal series, railway series, and much else besides. So that's it for today from here in Bretforton in Worcestershire in the Cotswolds. Hope you enjoyed another one of my Cotswold walks. Until next time, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you on the channel again very, very soon. All the best for now. Cheers. Goodbye.